Good morning. Release them or not, the raging debate inside the White House over whether to make photos of a dead Osama bin Laden public as the administration changes its account of the moments that led to bin Laden's death. The latest details today, Wednesday, May 4th, 2011.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today, the death of Osama bin Laden, with Matt Lauer and Meredith Vieira.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Today on a Wednesday morning. I'm Matt Lauer.
And I'm Meredith Vieira. President Obama is in a bit of a catch-22 here. Release a photo as solid proof that Osama bin Laden is dead, but then risk inflaming anti-U.S. sentiment in the Muslim world.
People within the administration who have seen the images describe them as gruesome, as you might expect. So is it something the American public needs to see? We'll get into that. We'll also talk to New York City's Mayor, Michael Bloomberg, a day before President Obama's planned visit to Ground Zero in Lower Manhattan.
Also, on Tuesday, the White House moved to clear up some of the details surrounding the raid. Initially, U.S. officials said bin Laden was armed with an automatic rifle and fired on the Navy SEALs. Now they are saying that was actually not the case, that he resisted but never had a weapon. We'll get the latest on that.
And we got some new insight on what life was like inside bin Laden's compound. How did they get their supplies? How much interaction did the people who lived there have with their neighbors? And what about the 23 kids found with bin Laden? Where are they now? We're live in Abbottabad with the details on that.
But let us begin with the latest on the raid and the debate over whether to release a photo of bin Laden's body. NBC's White House correspondent Savannah Guthrie has the latest. Good morning to you, Savannah.
Meredith, good morning. I'm told a decision on whether to release the photo is expected today. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, the administration has changed its story. Key details about how this went down. At first on Monday saying bin Laden was part of a firefight, now saying he was unarmed. And as for his wife, initially Monday the administration said that she had been used as a human shield and died in the firefight. We now know she survived.
The president, moments after receiving a private standing ovation from his cabinet, sidestepping a question about the mission that took out Osama bin Laden.
Thank you very much, guys.
The administration is releasing new details about the operation, revealing that bin Laden was unarmed when a commando shot him on the third floor of his secret compound, though officials insist he resisted capture and taking him prisoner was not an option.
There were many other people who were armed in the region. In the compound, there was a firefight.
Bin Laden's young wife, in the room with him, rushed one of the special forces, according to the administration, and was shot in the leg. Bin Laden himself was shot once above his left eye and twice in the chest.
The vote is 97-0.
As the U.S. Senate passed a resolution honoring the SEALs who pulled off the daring mission, the administration was intensely debating whether to release a photograph of bin Laden's body to prove he was killed. Sources who have seen the images describe them as gruesome. The terrorist leader's face recognizable but bloodied, a substantial wound above his left eye, blood and brain tissue visible. NBC's Brian Williams with CIA Director Leon Panetta.
The government obviously has been talking about how best to do this, but I don't think there was any question that ultimately a photograph would be presented to the public. Obviously, I've seen those photographs. We've analyzed them, and there's no question that it's bin Laden.
But the final call on whether to release a photo rests with the president, and the White House is still weighing the desire to provide conclusive evidence with worries about inflaming the Muslim world. On Capitol Hill, opinions were divided.
What I've heard of the pictures, they're not ghoulish, they're not going to scare people off, they're not offensive.
I personally think it's morbid, and I'm not one that's going to be yelling to make the photo public.
Well, as for these discrepancy, the administration says in the rush to get the information out, they were going on at that point incomplete information. Not all the commandos had been interviewed, and authorities insist that whether or not bin Laden was unarmed does not change the legality of the kill, given the context. Inside a dark house, there was a firefight, shots were fired, these commandos were fired upon almost from the moment they hit the building, and so authorities say that was a legal kill, whether or not bin Laden was unarmed. And one other note note, Matt, the president invited George W. Bush and former President Bill Clinton to Ground Zero with him tomorrow, but George W. Bush is unable to attend, and Bill Clinton is unlikely to attend because of scheduling. Matt, back to you.
All right, Savannah Guthrie at the White House. Savannah, as always, thank you very much.